When we left off on part 4, we had a plan for the GTA. Ditch the 305 TPI and take on an overhaul with a crate engine ZZ4, slap a Holley Stealth Ram on top, and change over the TPI ECU for a Holley Commander 950. Like any plan, it always sounds better on paper. This plan fell apart after many hours of work, as I will show you here in part 5. This will be the perfect time to remind you to catch up on watching parts 1 through 4. Okay, on with part 5. I got lucky and found a new in-box Holley Commander 950 from a seller on thirdgen.org. This package came with a TPI harness I'd need to keep all my same sensors from 1987 and still run the slightly more modern Commander 950. I also decided to buy all new sensors for the swap, mostly just for aesthetics, as they all worked as they should on the TPI. But with all this new paint and new shiny parts going on, I couldn't just put old sensors back on. This whole process was pretty straightforward. All the wiring needed was some positive and negative wires connected to the battery and a 12-volt switch power source. Everything else, as mentioned, just plugged into the factory hardware. This is where we encountered our first hurdle. We needed a laptop with a serial cable connection to hook up the data cable from the ECU to the laptop. I found a refurbished Lenovo ThinkPad that would take care of this, or so I thought. The person that I bought this off of did an install of Windows 10 to resell it. I could not get the Holley software to run on the Windows 10, even in their designed backwards compatibility modes. After digging around in my parents' attic, I found an old laptop running Windows XP, but it didn't have a serial cable. So I purchased a serial to USB adapter, and just like that, I got these two old dinosaurs of tech to talk to each other. With everything installed on the laptop and it talking to the ECU, we were ready to turn the key and see what happens. This is hurdle number 2. I got the car to fire up, well, sometimes, but every time the ECU would go offline. Sometimes it wouldn't connect at all. So back to Google I went to do a search and see what I could find out. What I found was that the 950 ECU had a factory upgrade from Holley back in the 90s. You sent in your ECU and they would flash it with updated firmware to make it talk to their quote-unquote new 950 Pro software. It's hard to say if this ECU was upgraded, but odds were that it was not, since it was considered new in the box by the seller on 3rd Gen. I think it's safe to assume that this had never been used before, therefore never sent in a Holley for the upgrade. I called Holley's tech line and talked to a couple different guys who told me this service was no longer offered, and they really had no solutions to offer other than upgrading the ECU to one of their more modern systems. So we were back to square one. It's so frustrating because the car ran, sorta. To be able to hear it running, knowing that I was going to have to tear it all back apart and start over, was driving me insane. And to be honest, I didn't touch the car for a few months out of frustration. So where do we go next? Join me in part 6 where I explain where I went after the 950 and the problems that came with that decision as we continue to document this wild ride. I'm going to send the ECU data. Not connected or not powered up. Let's try again.
ECU not connected or powered up. What the?
Be sure to hit the like button if you're enjoying these videos. Also, check out some of our other BTP rides on here or on our Instagram page.